All right, thank you. Hello, Boston. I'm really excited to be here. I don't want to rat on the rest of my speakers, but the word in the speakers lounge is that you guys have been. So let's try that again. Hello, Boston. All right, thank you. All right, I'm excited to be here today and talk to you guys a little bit about innovation, specifically in the out-of-home industry. And I'm going to actually bore you a little bit with my personal background because it is my background that shapes the perspectives I'm going to be sharing with you today on innovation. I've been fortunate to work with a number of innovators. I started off my career actually as an architect, working for people like Frank Gehry in Los Angeles, and then went on in the late 90s to found TBWA Chiat/Day's digital division in Los Angeles, working with innovators like Lee Clow, doing some of the first banner ads that Apple ever did. If you ever want to hear a story about how much Steve Jobs liked banner ads, I'm happy to tell you about it. And then moved on to, of all places, Shanghai, where I built out TBWA's digital offering in Asia, and moved into Omnicom Group, where I had this great role overseeing digital growth for all of the Omnicom agencies across a vast region in Asia, the Middle East, and Africa, both on the creative agencies for BBDO, TBWA, and DDB, as well as the media group and the PR companies and even shopper marketing. Came back to the US and joined a little startup to shift things up a little bit called Videri, which made this really, really cool hardware that OUTFRONT bought the rights to, and been at OUTFRONT for about a year. So this is really just to give you guys an understanding of where the perspectives I'm going to share with you are about innovation. And one of the things that I learned in my journey is that one of the biggest drivers of innovation is challenges. Companies and people really rise to create fantastic solutions to problems, and that really leads to innovation. So in the out-of-home industry, there are 4 challenges that I'm going to talk to you about that the industry as a whole, and certainly OUTFRONT, have risen to meet and create great opportunities around. So the first one is scale. How do you scale digital out-of-home? The second one is about the content, and that's one that I'm really passionate about. The third is the buying experience, so how do you plan and buy? And the fourth is really about metrics. So the scale challenge in out-of-home, I think, is especially interesting. If you think about online, sort of the digital, traditional digital marketing environment, you have a laptop, you bought that laptop. You have a mobile phone, you bought that mobile phone. In the out-of-home industry, any digital out-of-home was bought and invested in by the media company itself, right? And those screens are really, really expensive. So creating scale in that environment is really, really challenging. And if you think about it, as much as online advertising and digital marketing is can get to being a one-to-one medium where you're targeting that specific audience member, you can only achieve that by having a mass scale in which to find your audience. So figuring out how to create scale in digital out-of-home was a really, really big challenge, and it drove to, in this instance, a great opportunity. If you think about the screens that you might see out on the street, or even the large format billboards, these things are tens, 20, 30, 40, 50, $100,000 to create these. And so if we were going to create scale in digital out-of-home, we needed to really, really shrink that cost. And that's what we did. We bespoke designed screen technology that brought the cost of a digital device, a street-level digital device, from anywhere from $30,000 to $40,000 down to $3,000 or $4,000, and that enables scale because now it's affordable to deploy, they're low power, and they're very, very easy to handle. And that's what's allowed us to create the kind of scale that you see in Boston, where there's over 400 screens deployed throughout the T, on its way to even more than 100 in DC. We'll be building more than 700 in BART, and over 50,000 screens in the New York City subway system. And commuter rails there. And so that's one of the challenges that we've had to create innovation around scale. Second challenge is the content. So if you think about a world where we've achieved this scale and there's digital screens everywhere, out-of-home has a very, very interesting content challenge. If you think about television, there's TV shows. If you think about magazines and newspapers, online or print, there's articles, and those things get monetized. In out-of-home, there's really not content. Some people say the content is the environment that the board may be placed in, but I don't really see it that way. I think there's very little content in out-of-home. The content is the ads. So, you know, looking at the experiences that people have had online, you know, you can imagine that there'd be backlash against seeing all these ads everywhere. People feel that ads online can be really intrusive. In fact, there's this great visualization of what the future of a scaled digital out-of-home world might look like. This is actually augmented reality. I think this is pretty cool, but you could see things can get out of hand pretty quickly. So we feel we actually have a very, very profound responsibility to protect the quality of the environments that our inventory occupies. And we're doing that with content beyond advertising. And of course, that includes the things that you would immediately think of, like news and sports and weather. And that's great, and that's valuable content, but that's content you can get on your phone. We actually look a little past that and are starting to look to experiment with really simple, small things. We call them surprise and delight moments, like this really, really simple interstitial we created for a subway station in Brooklyn that just identifies the station. People love this. They were taking selfies in front of it. It becomes a part of the character and personality of the station itself. Another example is this collaboration we've launched just on Tuesday with MoMA, where MoMA is curating 3 to 4 pieces of artwork for us a month that gets displayed and shown throughout the New York City subway system. And my favorite of all time, the collaboration we did here in Boston with the T and Giphy, where Giphy curated these fantastic GIFs that bring to life the rider etiquette messages from the T. And this was fantastic work that was done here. Of course, this approach results, we think, in better ads too. This is an example that Mullen did for JetBlue. This is one of the first large format screens that actually are on our new platform that allowed people to see where they were in New York and calculate the time to the nearest airport by pinging the Google API, the Google Traffic API. It then pinged the JetBlue flight data to see how long they had to wait until their flight to the Bahamas, and then combined it with the actual flight time to the Bahamas and let them know how long they had to get from that point in time to wherever they were going. So the second challenge I'm going to talk about is the frictional buying experience. I don't know, like I said in my experience, or in my personal history, I'm relatively new to out-of-home, but one of the things that I still can't get over is how difficult it is to buy out-of-home, actually. And that has a lot to do with sort of the history of many of the out-of-home companies. They're aggregated roll-ups of these local companies that were bought and acquired, and so you have different systems to manage and track inventory. There's different regulations in different states and cities. It's very, very neighborhood specific. What a neighborhood is like in one place can it be real. It's very, very local knowledge. There's few standards. In fact, as many of you know, there's an entire industry of media companies that are called specialists in the out-of-home industry to deal with this. There's little flexibility around your buys. You're really booking it, and you have to stay committed to it. It's hard to move it around, and it's bought at 4 weeks at a time. So you really don't have the ability to create flexibility in your schedule. So these are sort of the legacy issues that we're dealing with. On the flip side, some of the things that we're doing as an industry, and certainly OUTFRONT, is creating new workflow tools. So we're looking at the best practices in the online industry to allow our sales teams and even expose some of this tool set to planners and buyers and clients so that they can see what inventory is available, price it, and eventually even buy it online themselves. We're introducing, certainly with digital, flexibility in the schedule. So instead of buying a week, you might just buy lunchtime during the weekdays or evenings during the weekends. And of course, format standards. So you could buy a national out-of-home campaign, which, believe it or not, is not a very common practice in the industry. So you'll be able to buy the entire transit network system around the country and not necessarily have to do it market by market. But that will require that the format standards from one transit authority are the same as the other, and we're working hard to do that, as well as standards. Most digital out-of-home right now, if you want to do something interactive and dynamic, you're relying on the out-of-home company to help you with that. We're working towards dynamic HTML5 standards so that in some cases the content that you have on web or mobile can just be ported to out-of-home. The last challenge that we're innovating around is metrics. Out-of-home can be pretty difficult to evaluate in the media mix. I've seen spreadsheets where it will say TV, print, radio, and then it gets to out-of-home and the numbers stop. It just sort of has an NA in the out-of-home column, and we're working to fix that as well. And this actually has a real significant business impact for the out-of-home industry. If you look at the industry, it's around a $7.9 billion industry compared to digital advertising, which is well over $100 billion. And I think there's a couple of things that account for this. One, digital out-of-home is really only 3.5% of the ad spend because of the poor operational efficiency it has and the lack of precision targeting and metrics, compared to online, which takes up 45% of the ad spend because it's leveraging automation and is informed by data. So we are definitely trying to take this online approach and bring it to the out-of-home industry around a couple of tenants. One of them is audiences. You should be able to buy audiences, not just the street corner on 3rd and Main, but you should be able to say, this is the audience I'm targeting, where are they? And there are definitely things that you can do in the out-of-home industry that will allow you to do that, but it isn't the same as online, and we're very much driving a similarity and common currency there. We've partnered with Acxiom, so if you have a particular target in Personix cluster from Acxiom that you target online, we can take that exact same target and overlay it against our assets. Eventually, we're moving to a place where we'll be able to sell by impression and CPM. And all of these changes will allow us to move to a place where out-of-home is traded and bought programmatically the same way many other media are moving to. So that's really just my quick overview on some of the innovations that we're seeing in the out-of-home industry and specifically at OUTFRONT. And now, since we didn't have a lot of interaction in that conversation, we're going to play a little game. If everybody can bust out their mobile phones, if they're not out already, and go to swiftpolling.com. I'm going to put up 6 images of our live board deployment in the Boston area, and you will get to pick, I think it's multiple choice, to see if you can guess which they are. So you go to swiftpolling.com and you enter MID for the event code. All right, so the first one, here we go. This is either Back Bay Station, North Station, or Kenmore Station. Oh, you guys know this one. Ooh, it's going down. The wrong answers are going up. All right, I think it stopped, and the answer is a Back Bay Station. For all of those that got it right, it is not Kenmore Station. Who said Kenmore Station? No, I'm kidding. You don't have to raise your hand. All right, the next one. Mass Ave, Wonderland, or Courthouse Station? This one you guys know. Very good. This is Courthouse Station. All right, next one. Got 3 more. Back Bay Station, Harvard Station, Tufts Medical Center Station. This one I hear is a trick one. I guess not. Everybody knew that one, Tufts Medical Center. All right, here we go. Mass Ave Station, South Station, or Kenmore? I mean, you can practically see the street sign. I don't know if that's really... Oh, not as easy at the top. Mass Ave Station, very good, all right. Wonderland Station, oh sorry, South Station, Wonderland Station, or Harvard Station? Wow, there's like a consistent 5 to 10% who don't know these. You guys are all from Boston. This is the Boston. I'm in the right place, right? The Boston Anglo. All right, last but not least. Well, this is impossible. How can you get that so close up? South Station, North Station, or Back Bay Station? All right, the people who get this right can go to our booth where you can actually see the live board display during the coffee break and claim your prizes there. But you have to be honest that you got it right. And this is South Station. Thank you guys very much. Enjoy the rest of your day.